Welcome to Cooking with a Connection. I'm Carolyn, and this week we're going to be making applesauce. I live in New York State, so apples are abundant and ready for plucking at the moment, and I absolutely love them. So I went to the farmer's market and bought this giant box, which is a half bushel, and decided the best way to use it is to turn it into sauce. So let's get started. So we have a variety here. One time my dad sent me to get apples and said, what kind of apples make the best applesauce? The answer is apples, any kind. So I have a bunch of types, and I'll put some details about what different varieties do in the blog post. We're going to need to peel, core, and cut them. If you have one of these nifty tools, or if you can get one, it's like 20 bucks at Bed Bath & Beyond or on Amazon. It does all of those things for you. So you just stick the apple on the prongs and spin it, and it peels the peel right off and then spins it on this blade that spiralizes it and gets rid of the core as well. So we're going to pull it right off the end here, and you'll see there's the core. So makes it really easy and quick to do a huge box, especially if you're doing it by yourself. So I had to just peel off a little bit of peel that it kind of missed. It might miss like some little edges, and then you cut it in half. And that's just because it's one big spiral and you want it to cook evenly. So by cutting it in half, we get kind of individual half moon shapes like you can see here. So after we've done all of them, we have this giant pot, and to it, we're going to add 2 cups of apple cider. This just gets it steaming and gets the apples cooking without it kind of sticking to the bottom. But this pot sucks. You really want a heavy bottom pot, so a Dutch oven. So that's what I'm going to switch to while I cook it on low. And as you can see, cooking it on low is about half an hour, low or medium low. This is about after half an hour. Some of those softer apples like Macintosh will start to break down really quickly. And some of those firmer apples like the Granny Smiths or the Empires are going to stay kind of chunky in there for a long time. So this takes about 2 hours of cooking, but you're not really involved for that whole time. You're just kind of stir it every once in a while, and if you see any seeds in there, like you just saw, I plucked it out and just threw it away. It won't impact the taste of your applesauce, but you don't want somebody to bite on that. Once it starts to break down, we're going to add our brown sugar. I don't add the sugar right at the beginning because then the apples start to macerate and you end up with apple soup, and there's just lots of juice released as opposed to it cooking and actually turning into sauce. So we add it later after some of those softer apples are broken down. And this is about 90 minutes in. You can really see that it's really starting to get saucy. Even so, started to break up, and they'll start to break up as you stir them with your spoon. We're going to add in some white sugar for sweetness, and this is entirely optional. My mom just likes the apple cider and the apples, and that's it. But she tends to use sweeter apples in the first place when she makes it. I like to add some tartness, so that Granny Smith will make it tart, and you want to sweeten it up just a little bit. So that's what the white sugar will do. The brown sugar that we added before adds like a nice molasses earthiness to it. So that's the purpose of that. If it's too thick, you can add more cider, which is what I'm doing here, especially if some of your apples haven't completely started to break down yet. Then you really want to make sure that it's not completely sauce or it will start to burn on the bottom, and you don't want it to be too thick. So we'll let this cook for just a little while longer, and hopefully those apples will continue to break down. If they don't, you can just kind of go with a potato masher, and that will help to break those up. If you really want it smooth, use an immersion blender to break it up as well. That'll give you a completely smooth applesauce. Taste it. If it needs more sugar, add sugar. In my case, I wanted to have a sweeter taste without actually adding more sugar, which is what cinnamon will do. Cinnamon is a very sweet spice. So by adding it, you'll get the illusion of sweetness without adding tons and tons of extra sugar. And I just love the flavor of cinnamon. I mean, apples and cinnamon, that's like a match made in heaven. So there you go. You can, after you've added your cinnamon and it's broken down to, your desired amount, you can just serve it with pork chops like I have here, or, you can eat it straight out of the pot, or eat it in a bowl, or, put it in the fridge and save it for another day. We serve applesauce with pretty much everything. This is more of a technique than a recipe. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to our next video. Have a good day. Thanks. Bye.